Thank you,
Mark. So
I'll just watching this now. Okay.
I'll call the meeting to order.
There should be a red light on that.
We can all stand and.
Yeah.
I'd like to call the meeting to order and then stand up and say the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there a motion to accept the agenda today? A second. Okay, so we're going to discuss old business. Old business is the director's job posting, the job description. This is to present it to the community for us and for final approval. And I'll turn it over to the committee that did it, Adam or Denise, whichever one wanted to talk about that and present it to the community.
So Denise and I were tasked as a committee to drill down into this and put a job description and a job posting together. I think the concept to update it to what the to update it to present time and something that that is the board's holding, I think, and the library's holding. So that's why we're putting it to a vote, all that. So I take it everybody has read down through both the description and the job posting and is familiar with what's here, with what we presented.
I wonder, in the interest of transparency, whether you shouldn't read it through the recording for people who haven't been able to read it.
Okay.
Or should there be a
okay. Sure.
Yeah, just the job posting.
Okay, just the job posting.
Yeah. Okay.
So it starts out with the link to the About Us at the Camden County Library District as our address, and up the top it shows the posting. The position is director. Then I'll just go ahead and read through.
Sure.
Central Missouri has something for everyone. Camden County possesses Lake of the Ozarks' natural beauty with rural living, agricultural communities, and metropolises remaining reasonably accessible. Camden County's industry, retail, tourism, retirement community continue to grow, and retirement community continue to grow. 4 area high schools' ACT scores are consistently competitive with the state and national averages. The area has 2 technical career centers, a 4-year liberal arts college extension campus, and a satellite community college. The region provides outstanding quality of life combined with low cost of living. Comprehensive local health care services are provided by a state designated level 3 trauma facility, and that has been verified. Then I have 2 links here for LORDEC and the Chamber of Commerce, which basically cites everything that is in the introduction here to our county, and you can get a lot more by going to those 2 sites. That's why these links are here. The Camden County Library District seeks a director who will efficiently and safely serve a population of 42,745 and approximately 32 employees, and a latest annual budget of approximately $1.9 million. And the reason why I did that 1.9 M like that rather than a big dollar figure, I don't know, maybe it's trivial, but I think it's less of a bullseye as far as when people are leaking through things or looking at things. Then we have where the job description for Camden County Library District resides as a link. The ideal candidate will possess a master's degree in library science, a bachelor's degree with a business or finance minor as a plus, and at least 5 years of professional experience working in a public library. The equivalency of education and experience will be considered. Experience should include proven success with supervision of staff through effective interpersonal collaboration and problem-solving skill. The candidate must also possess a broad knowledge of library principles and practices, library technologies, and advances. Compensation is commensurate with qualifications. Comprehensive benefits are also available. Is there any questions so far or comments on any of that?
The only comment I guess I would like to make is that maybe what we ought to do is do a word review for spelling and clarity.
Sure. We did that, but yeah, again, sure. I would take that.
Well, for instance, when I did it, it showed a dash between for and year in the first paragraph, and a few other things as it went down.
Yeah.
Like in the third paragraph, it also recommended, and instead of a latest, it's probably better.
Where we at?
The latest.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So
give me a second. We'll catch up with you.
Also,
the latest. And
yeah.
The latest.
Yeah.
Okay. And as far as the dashes,
yeah.
When I took those out, the Microsoft Word did not flag those as grammatical issues, and I think it's just my personal preference, but it's the dashes look clunky. They're good in notes, but in a document or a presentation, I think they kind of just to me they look awkward. So and I could be off on that. If anybody else has anything, please.
I think there is. I mean, if you want to get picky, I think there is an extraneous comma after collaboration.
Yes. Where we at?
Collaboration and problem-solving skills.
Collaboration, and so you think that's not necessary?
It is not necessary.
Okay. We are going to have. I think John had expressed it, or somebody had expressed it. We've got academics looking at this. And they're going to catch things like that, and it's going to distract. It's going to some might even incense if they were an English teacher. So yes, I'm totally on board with that. So John, I didn't get everything.
The only other thing was, as we looked at the use of the word "the" in the latest budget, on your 1.9 million,
yes,
if you would at least maybe put a dollar sign there.
I specifically don't want to.
You don't want to put a dollar sign?
I don't want a dollar sign. I did. It says budget that talks about money, 1.9 million. And my thing on that is you got a big old dollar sign there. It's just more of a target for people who are fishing or whaling on the internet, and so I think I don't know, it just doesn't catch the eye as much. But the person who is reading it and actually looking for a job position, they understand that. They understand what I'm saying here, and that's who I'm targeting. I'm not targeting somebody who's just out there looking for dollar figures. That's my take on it. Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah. Excuse me. There's actually a thing on the internet where people look for dollar signs.
Yeah, it's the dollar signs, positions, all of that, and of course, yeah, as director, that's going to be something. But it just if you think if everybody thinks there needs to be a dollar sign, I'll change it up to a dollar figure. I have no problem with that. That was my
certainly better English to have a dollar sign, but I don't have an opinion about people who are fishing for dollar signs.
Okay.
Just provide clarity. I mean, you're right. I mean,
people will know what it means.
People, they know what it means. Whatever the board decides, it's fine.
Yeah, I did what I did do is do a bit of a search for how to represent 1,900,000 in a abbreviation, and that one to me just had the least amount of visibility.
I like the 1.9 million.
Yeah.
You know, without spelling that out, I think that's fine.
Okay.
That's good clarity. The other point is just, you know, to make sure there's no question about the fact that we're dealing in dollars.
Yes.
I have to apologize. I didn't really know this in reading it, but there isn't any kind of a salary range.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
You can allow someone to negotiate a salary. And when they come in, they have a figure in the mind. And you're gonna ask them, you know, we have a range.
Yeah.
It's posted in our policy manual, I believe, right?
That's not in the link.
It's, no, it's just our approved salary schedule
But
for
when somebody
2020.
comes in for an interview and you're asking them, what salary are you currently making, what are you looking for?
I'm not sure I want to interview them if they're not interested, and I'm not sure they
No,
could be
no, no,
interested
no,
if they
no,
didn't.
Well, I applied for positions that didn't have the salary, indicated. And, there's a salary range. If your salary range is between, like, let's say $65,000 and $85,000 for a start, and somebody wants $200,000 a year, well, clearly we can't afford that person.
Sure, but would you want them to come in for an interview to find that out?
Well, you never know.
There's always negotiation. Yeah.
That's no negotiation. They just wouldn't be interested.
Well, maybe not, but,
My thoughts too, I don't mean to interject, but, my thoughts too is that when I viewed several different job descriptions, some have salaries noted and others do not. So I think it's a major thought of what the board wants to do. Do we need to vote on whether we put a salary range in the job posting or not? Is there a suggestion?
I don't think we're ready for a vote yet, but,
I don't have a problem with this. If you post the top end of your range, you're going to find people shooting for the top end of your range, okay? And they may not be qualified for that. So,
Okay. I can go with it. I just know I wouldn't apply.
yeah.
I have to.
Well, and I will tell you this, if there's anybody interested, they're going to call you or they're going to send you an email and they're going to ask you those questions before they even get started,
That's
okay? And, you know, quite frankly, most of these folks we're not gonna have them come in for an interview. We'll probably, interview them online before we bring in the final candidates. I would hope that we would have enough candidates to be able to do that with. So, they can ask those questions at that point if they're really if they're that important to them.
And we have Vicki Brannaman, that's the first line of contact.
She's actually the second line, I think. Isn't Vicki?
Oh, Vicki Simbro.
Vicky with
Yeah.
a Y.
Okay,
Yeah.
what will Vicki say?
Okay, so back to this part about the 1.9 million. We're okay with the dollar sign? Are we agreed that we just put a dollar sign in there?
So we're okay
I
with
will, okay.
I'm just particularly
Yes,
asking about that piece.
we got past that.
We're fine with that, okay. So then we're back to the ideal candidate. And do you want to go on and finish that part and then, we're down to the compensation? So we do or we do not need to put a salary? I'm not interested in a salary.
The consensus
range.
seems to be that we don't need a salary range, but if they call, since you're the first line of contact, and they say, well, what does this pay?
I'll probably go by the standards it's in.
Well, in the policy, I have passed out,
With the salary that you give us,
Yes.
the piece of paper that
yes,
you give us.
2003.
Now, if that needs to be reviewed and updated, then we need to look at that as well, but, she did give us that at the last meeting, I believe.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Do I need to pull out that document?
No, I think we're fine.
Okay,
And you know what, if you're gonna quote that, I'd quote the bottom range all the way to the top range, okay?
absolutely,
Because, and then you say, again, it depends on where you fall in there. You
exactly.
know, I mean, if they wanna negotiate with us, you know, negotiation is a two-way street. So,
So we could actually, could we actually have a meeting before we present what we're actually gonna offer the person and decide on that?
Oh, well, we'll interview, my understanding, correct me, I'm not hired a library director, but we interview everybody, and then salary is usually a discussion towards the end of the meeting, after we find out why they wanna come, what they have, what their thoughts are,
So we have to have that number ready.
No, I don't
So you were
necessarily.
just asking, we're just asking them, and what happens when they ask us? Yeah.
Well, again, give them a salary range that I just mentioned, take them from the low and take them to the high, and quite frankly,
Yeah.
you're not gonna quote them anything, you're not gonna tell them what you're going to offer them
No.
until you get through all of your candidates.
Correct.
You don't have to look at every candidate.
Correct.
You decide who your top candidates are, and then you make a decision on who you want to interview.
Correct.
Now, again, my recommendation, is strictly just a recommendation, would be that you interview, via Zoom or whatever. And, then you've got, your candidates, you'll narrow those down. You'll take your top 1, 2, or 3 candidates, whatever the board decides, and then you will ask them to come in for an interview, okay? Which gives them an opportunity to take a look at the area and that type of thing. And, then you blah, blah, blah.
And if there's too close, everyone, we like 2 people, then it's a second interview process. And I think those meetings could be done in the boardroom easily enough. The Zoom is in there, right? So it could be done in there.
That'd be a good place for it. Yeah, I think that would be a closed session.
Yeah, I agree. There's a motion to continue to move on.
Well, I would like to make a motion to accept the job description. And wait,
We're not there yet.
we're not there
We're
yet.
trying to posting.
We're still on the post.
Posting.
Oh, we're starting the post.
Yeah, it's good. So are we
I
done?
didn't make the job
Are we done with the compensation?
We are.
Okay, benefits, so we're gonna leave it like that?
We are.
Yeah.
Okay. So to apply successfully, send a meaningful cover letter and resume via email to Camden County Library District Board of Trustees, CCLD Board of Trustees, President Vicky Simbro, and then I've got the email sheet. Is that the email you would prefer to use for that?
Correct.
Okay. And Vicky Graneman, and that's the email you want to use, Vicky?
Yes, are you sure you want them to come to me instead of someone on the hiring committee? Just a question. I mean, I don't mind getting them and
we
and sending them.
we don't have a hiring committee, I don't think,
Well,
do we?
You will have.
What's that? We were a committee on getting the job description.
Well, that's true.
Together. That's
That
I think.
hasn't been appointed
Okay,
yet.
sure, I will,
believe,
then
yes.
I will, when I get them, I will just, send them out to everyone.
It's just the reason why I did this, in my limited understanding, is that everybody gets to see what comes through,
That's fine.
and it's just accountability.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Since it is email, do we even need an alternative?
An alternative. I'm sorry.
An alternative email?
Yes, we do. Accountability.
So
Just so that everybody knows what comes through, and then
Oh,
we know we are
this
all
is a-
picking from the same pool.
This
That's
is
okay,
an
that's a good
hand-
idea. I
this is an
understand what you're
hand
trying to
thing.
do. Yes, thanks.
Okay,
So
Hey,
they're
go ahead.
supposed to send to both of them.
yes. Could I do that better?
Are you sure that they will? I
No.
don't see how you
No.
can guarantee that.
Oh, well, it does say to apply successfully,
Uh-huh.
and maybe tell that person once if they fail to get it to both, and if they won't get it to both, then maybe they're just not somebody we want to talk to.
Okay, got it. Then the other thing is you can remove the comma between letter and resume. Just a letter and resume, no comma needed.
Okay.
Deadline.
Okay.
Can I make a recommendation on
Yes.
the deadlines? Instead of having just the applications by December 29th, okay? Could we possibly consider an opening date and a closing date?
Oh, so, yes, could you explain that?
Sure.
Yes.
Basically, what you're doing is you're saying that we are starting to accept applications on this date.
Okay.
And we will close applications on this date. Now, one of the things that you can do, and I would recommend this, on the closing date, you don't give them a closing date, you just say continuous. And what that allows you to do is to start getting your resumes in, you start looking at your resumes, you look at the candidates. If you see someone you like, you can start the interview process. Otherwise, you leave it open. If you put a closing date on there, people will say, after that date, it's over and done with.
Right.
Okay? So here, you don't have to go back and repost or anything. You've got that there. So that's just, again, a recommendation that I would like.
Would you care to verbalize that and I'll write it down?
Yeah, sure, just all you have to do is just show the deadlines for application, opening date, and then whatever the date is, and then show closing date.
Until filled?
And closing date, just show continuous.
So closing date, colon, continues.
Might want to say application period starts, and put the opening date when it starts, and is continuous.
Do we even need a line? I mean, once we post it, isn't it obvious?
Or what you can do is you can just, I mean, if you want to, however you want to do it, you can just say, starting the paragraph, the deadline for applications, and then underneath that show opening date, and then post whatever that date is under opening date with opening date highlighted, okay? Or, and then closing date underneath that, and then just show under that continuous.
So I'm going to say,
I'll show you an example.
okay.
Here, if this is where the board would like to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I want to.
Sure.
I don't really object, it's just kind of, it's obviously when we post it, it's open. And obviously it's going to be open until we close it. I mean, I don't know if you need a sentence to that effect.
Well, here what we've done is to put a deadline for December 29th.
I agree, this one is wrong.
Right.
Oh, the 29th.
Right.
Yeah, I grabbed the date, I'm sorry, and I was hoping we'd come up with something in this
Right.
meeting.
Yeah, and we should.
Yeah,
we should.
But you're talking about posting a deadline that isn't a deadline. You might as well not have it.
Well, but one of the
You can
things.
say position is open immediately and and applications will be accepted until we reach a conclusion.
You've done the same thing, you just showed opening dates and closing dates. You alluded to that, and the reason that you just put continuous, I mean, yes.
It's not a deadline.
It's not a deadline, and we're not looking for a deadline here. We're leaving it wide open.
Maybe we should just say application is open immediately and is continuous, something.
Again, I've seen continuous, I've seen until fill, and I've seen different kinds of documentation at the end, so
Whatever.
it's kind of what,
Right.
so.
So do we have to have these changes typed up and reprinted?
It can be approved today.
Please.
Yes,
Please.
absolutely. We don't-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I want to do when we're done with all this, I'm gonna go down through the changes that I've put on here that I've taken from you folks, and I think we should get a vote on that is what we want, and then all I'm doing is retyping. All I'm doing is typing in the correction.
I need to hear the very last line. What would you like to put as the very last line to say out loud?
Yeah, I need a clear.
The deadline for application starts.
Okay.
Do it that way. You can stop right there. If you want to use this terminology, then post this underneath there like that.
Oh, what does that say, John?
It just shows the opening date.
No, you just can read it to me. You don't have to bring it all the way up.
And just stop application there, and then put that, we can be, as far as format, you can do any format.
And I don't know that opening date is, the opening per se word is necessary. It just, application starts. Goes and.
Or you can show application begin.
Yeah.
Use any terminology you want, but I think you ought to have two opening date.
We have begun receiving applications and will conclude or end, whatever.
No, we're not gonna do it end.
We're not gonna do that, so.
It's just like the deadline for application starts, is approaching or is now or,
Let's put a date on there.
today, August 16th, until closing. And leave it, just no date, just until closing.
We will be accepting applications.
The deadline for application starting August 16th, if it's not.
Say
Can't go
that.
to August 16th, but just immediately when it's
How
posted.
about position is open immediately and we will accept applications until position is filled? No deadline word.
So, So should we have a position is open with a date so that when somebody looks at it, well, I mean, they're gonna be pulling the, and when they look at it, they know it's a current posting.
Okay, position open as of whatever today's date is.
I don't know that it can it be today? I mean, are we gonna use the posting date? Vicki, how long, does that take to?
Use the date that the position was actually opened in September 3rd or something.
No, I don't think we should go back. We should go forward, we shouldn't go back. But as
Maybe
far as the
with
date
this
goes,
meeting, once it's approved, it goes with the date that, the position.
It'll be approved today, so I've got today's date.
Position as of
Position open September 27th, is it?
27.
Jeez.
or just start fresh, give everybody enough time to get this all done, one final look, and then everybody really needs to respond that it's a final look, this is what we're gonna go with, and the opening date will be October 1st.
We're not approving it today.
I think.
No, I think we are approving it today, but I also think, and due respect to everybody here, that the final should be sent in an email to everybody. And in due respect to the committee who's worked on this, that we respond immediately to say yes or no, because the October 1st date, to open October 1st, October 2nd.
We probably can't get it posted for October 1st yet.
That's where I'm coming from,
Right.
yes.
Okay, 1 October.
But we're not really
2
approving it
October.
today then.
We
2
are
October.
doing
I
it
was just gonna look at the
today.
calendar, thank you.
That's 2 October, while we get October 1st.
Well, I just wanna make sure
Is that a Monday?
it's,
Yeah, cool.
no, I
All right.
don't think it is Monday.
The second is a Monday.
The second is Monday.
Wouldn't it be simple just to make the change and print it right here?
You wanna do that, fine.
Or make the change right now and email it to us so we can approve it now and actually be done?
Well, I guess I don't, I mean, I'm assuming, Adam, you're gonna take this and you're gonna go home and you're gonna redo this and you're gonna send it out to everybody today.
I can do that.
And my point being is that everybody respond quickly so that we can move with this.
Yeah,
All right. So.
That was my point.
So here was my idea, is to get this, so I've gone down through and I've done exactly what we've decided on with words, with commas and all that. And then, so I want to get this position, I want to hash this out, and I want to write it down in pencil. Then we all accept this, and then all I do is put out a typed up finished product, and you look, and all we're doing is spell checking this thing. We're not working with wording or anything else. We're just making sure that I didn't fat thumb this thing.
You can make a motion, someone can make a motion to approve it as amended, is that correct, John?
Correct.
Yeah.
Just make, and then it's,
And just confirm, attach this, a confirmed, job posting as agreed to in the meeting this morning.
All right, so that said, the last line, position opens as of, and the date is 2 October?
October 1.
Monday.
Yeah, I don't think we need to say as a,
Okay,
No.
position opens,
October 2nd.
open.
Open applications being received October 2nd, do something to close it.
or maybe we should change that to resumes instead of applications, since
Oh, right.
resumes. Just a thought.
Okay,
Accepting resumes,
all right, got it, that's perfect.
August 2nd through closing.
I like that. Yeah, I mean, I'm good with that. Accepting resumes, to October 23
So
to,
2,
That's the date,
Easy, right?
October 2nd.
That way.
accepting resumes, 10/2/23 until closing.
Just leave it in.
until position fill.
Closing is fine.
Okay, until close, just until
well, I don't
closing.
think closing is, I'm gonna use a different word.
Okay, what word?
Well,
Until position.
until
Until
position is
position
filled.
No,
Does that work?
yes. Can you review it one more time, Adam, what you're gonna write there?
Yes, I will. Yes. So, accepting resumes, October 2023, until, anyway, accepting resumes, October, should I say starting or just accepting resumes?
Beginning, why don't you say beginning?
Beginning. Okay, accepting resumes beginning October 2nd, 2023, until position is filled. Fine, that's clear.
Until position filled, I don't think you need it is. This position filled.
Okay, got it. All right, so I'm gonna read it one more time. Accepting resumes beginning October 2nd, 2023, till position filled. All right, I'm gonna go from the beginning just to tell you what I'm not gonna read down. I'm gonna tell you the changes I made. Okay. So going down to the second paragraph under the first set of links, I changed a latest annual budget to the latest annual budget. Then going down to the third paragraph under the job description link, I got rid of the comma after collaboration. And then in the to apply successfully paragraph, I got rid of the comma between letter and resume. And then the last thing, accepting resumes beginning October 2nd, 2023, till position filled. That's.
And the dollar sign?
We left out the dollar sign.
For sure we're leaving out the dollar sign.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe one suggestion where it says submit all inquiries to these emails, maybe it should say to both, since you want them to like both.
Okay.
That seems there.
It's more directed.
So, and then I move we accept the job posting as read.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So I'm gonna put, Bill moved to accept job posting as amended and read,
Okay.
okay?
Yes.
Yes.
That's what I meant.
And I'll put this out today, and then you guys let me know if I messed anything up.
We've already approved it.
Well, I mean, as far as any punctuation or anything like that, punctuation is, or just some typo, you know, I could goof it up.
Okay, so we're good with job posting, so we'll move on to the reviewing the director description, whether director description, job description. Somebody want to read it, or one of you two want to do that? Sure. Any others?
The director serves at the pleasure and under broad policy guidance and direction from, and under broad policy guidance and direction from the Camden County Library District Board of Trustees. The director will in person perform duties as outlined in the job description listed below. Board of Trustees will hereafter be referred to as board. Library Director job description. The director is the administrator, technical advisor, and chief executive officer who is delegated the duty of carrying out board policies. All work of the library shall be under the administration of the director, who is directly responsible for efficient operation of the library and its service to the people within the library district. The director must demonstrate the core values, motivation, positive attitude, respect for others, a strong commitment to customer service, integrity, honesty, and flexibility of thought.
What is flexibility of thought mean?
They're willing to envision future the future of the library, the direction in which we would like the library to go.
So if we're having a hard time explaining it to me, if I'm reading that, what does that mean? So maybe what we need to do is to just say what flexibility of thought is, okay? So you don't have to think about it.
Willingness to change or willingness to adapt to future.
Willingness to collaborate.
Forward thinking.
Kind of think it's intuitively.
I mean, really, is it not just flexibility to all things, not just flexibility of thought?
I'm not sure I want flexibility.
Okay, well, it's what we use for flexibility.
300-pound bouncer at the door.
How about maybe just end with honesty?
With
Not have
honesty.
Yeah, I like that.
And put it on and in front of honesty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, are there any changes or is this good?
I like it.
Duties in relation to the Board of Trustees. Carries out policies as formulated by the board, presents updates and regulations, policies, and library services, reports current progress and future needs, works with the board to establish a short-range and long-range plan, states current and local and federal laws regarding libraries and employment while informing the board of changes, makes monthly reports regarding services, finances, and statistics, makes reports to governing authorities as required by law, responsible for the orientation of new board members, and serves as a resource for board activities, prepares board meeting agendas, and necessary reports in cooperation with the board president, notifies all members of the board of scheduled meetings, maintains a record of procedures and business that is readily available to all board members, enters onto a bond before entering upon duties with the corporate surety approved and paid for by the board, 182.075.1 RS-MO, makes a report to the board before the end of March, stating the condition of the library and its services as of the 31st day of December, 182.075.3 RS-MO, assists with the annual audit to be presented at the June board meeting. Are there any changes to this paragraph?
I have a question. Is policy all done by the board, or is it a collaboration between the board and the director?
Typically the director presents policies, board approves policies.
Well, yeah, I think it's a collaboration because some policies
Ask for it.
the board will want to do.
Yes.
Some the director will want.
Something like collaborates on policy and abides by established policy.
Since he carries out, or he or she carries out policies as formulated by the board.
It's a good way to.
So,
Okay.
You've already said that in the job description. Okay, this is the trustees. Okay.
Are you still on the board of trustees paragraph?
Probably good.
Yeah. Well, you know, we talked about, okay, never mind.
Please. John.
Well, if this is under board of trustees, okay, it says prepares board, responsible for the organization board.
Yes.
Okay, that's really the responsibility, or as it relates to the board of trustees, okay? So, we talked about this before, as far as prepares board meeting agendas. See, this person will not prepare the board agendas, is responsible for or oversees the preparation of. and I thought we had that clarified, but it's the same verbiage that we talked about at the last board meeting. So it doesn't look like it's changed.
Yeah, what I'm used to is for the board president to prepare the meeting agendas and that kind of thing.
Well, it's not really the board president's responsibility to do that, but I'm just saying this person is not going to do that. The way this reads is that's their job, and it's to oversee this job as it is everything else, to oversee.
And it's and I agree, it's in collaboration with the board president. We put our heads together to have a meeting to present to the community.
Well, why?
Well, the board.
Because it's always been done that way.
Well, it's just the respect for the positions. The director is in charge of the library and the 5 districts. The president might come up with an idea of policy that they'd like to see changed. And so it's a combination of effort between the president, board. I'm thinking all of you have input in all of this. It's not just a decision that the president makes. The president is, I'm just in charge, but you all have a position to add your thoughts and anything to that we do. I'm not gonna state a policy that has not been reviewed or discussed with the rest of the members of the trustee board. With that saying that, then that also goes with the director to be able to discuss it both. Or the director comes up with some idea that we want to build that soundproof roof, please, and extend all that stuff in there. Well, that's talking about building and doing more stuff that really is a participation of the director as well as the board of trustees.
So we're responsible for taking everything we get from the director, but we formulate the policy. We
generally approve the policy, and formulate means that you actually prepare the policy and present it. Actually, most of the time in the past, that's a staff responsibility, okay? So, you can make a recommendation. The president or any board member can request an agenda item, okay, for discussion. And normally, it's then request that staff put together, a policy if there's a particular policy that you want. And if the person who's requesting that works with the director, whoever puts the policy together, to be sure that it's what they have in mind, then it comes back and is presented. So,
I think we could have a separate discussion on this whole topic.
Well,
but all I'm saying is that normally the president of the board would decide on the agenda for a board meeting, and certainly the director is consulted, and the director might have things he or she might want to add, but he or she doesn't say, no, you can't talk about that. It's the board president.
No, it's definitely a collaboration, and it's definitely, now I think what probably needs to be done is the way the board has worked in the past. I don't know, I haven't been on the board in the past. There might be a change in how we look at things as a board, a different board. We're doing things different, for instance, and I don't want to get off topic because we're here to discuss the job description. But what I will say is those are all part of the strategic planning of this library system. And so if anybody has thoughts about the strategic planning, what this board is, what this library is, what we wanted to see, that's all part of that strategic planning. So that should be tabled until we get into the strategic planning of the board. So what was may not be what is today because of the input from all of the board of trustees.
So do these words work for now?
They don't for me, but if they work for everybody else, that's fine.
Which exactly words are you?
I don't like a lot of this, okay? I'll be real honest with you. I'm not sure why we are redoing this. I think that the job description that currently exists covers all of this. You ought to put a lot of different words to it, okay? And so I'm not sure why they even need to be, why it needs to be changed. It's very clear. It covers all of these items.
I think it needs to be clear that the director works at the behest of the board.
It says that in the original job description.
I understand. It's, I think maybe, I personally feel that maybe some things need to be clarified and stipulated so it's clear that or the director sentence, because it is a collaboration. It is a collaboration. At the end of the day, the board votes on it and accepts it. But it's the formula, where my problem was, the formulation occurs in that collaboration. So carries out board sanctioned policies, board, I don't, so formulated is the word that I got stuck on.
You know, I think we kind of, my opinion is we kind of, we did decide back in the last meeting that we wanted to merge together two documents. We had job description and we had the duties in a separate place. So we were trying to merge those two together. And maybe this was just too ambitious a step, because I don't disagree with what you've written at all. Otherwise I would have disagreed by email. But maybe we just leapfrogged a step where we needed to have a discussion meeting among all of us. We go back to the originals and say, okay, this is why we did this.
We did do that.
No.
What did we do? That meeting where we went.
the one in the Osage Beach boardroom where we just kind of talked about it and didn't really come to any conclusion and decided to just kind of delegate it to you two. Okay. And then we sent it around by email, but we didn't really explain the rationale for what this is. Okay. And I think that needs to be, we need to sit down as a kind of a work group session and go through that. Otherwise, John will say, well, why are we changing this? And I understand John's point completely.
And then we added responsible for the orientation of the board members.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's the director's job either.
No, I think that's part of the trustees. That's, to me, everything I've read points to that's part of the board of trustees position, is to orient the new trustees to
well, I've read many job descriptions, and that was the duty of the director of the library. And the reason for this is we, as the board and the library, should develop an orientation package for new board members. We were all just thrown into this and trying to figure things out as best as we can. But we do need an orientation package. And then part of the orientation was the director would bring the new board member or board members to each of the libraries and branches, introduce them to all of the employees as new board members, and it was like a welcoming thing into the library. So now each of the new board members is aware of what each of the branches does, how big they are, and what their needs are. And, you know, this is an undertaking that you and we did to Ben ourselves.
Well, we did talk about that, and I don't disagree with the option that there should be a packet for board of trustees, but I think we need to just keep our focus right now on the job description.
Right.
Please.
And in many job descriptions, that was the duty of the director of the library.
But all I'm saying is that's kind of misplaced.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it is. We're the board of trustees, and to train new.
Should be part of the board.
See what happened to us, or you mostly, is that you were just kind of thrusting. And so when I came along, you couldn't orient me because you were still figuring it out. But that's not normal for a board. It's not the normal way a board exists.
But there was no package, an orientation package available.
No, we don't, but we do have.
No, disagree.
We do have the trustees handbook from the state library that,
But that is,
the trustees.
you know,
it's very helpful. It's very helpful.
It's very
Okay,
helpful,
fine.
but
Can we see?
the handbook should be
Right.
oriented to what our libraries are doing.
And I agree, I don't disagree with any of this discussion. I just think that we need to keep our focus on job description. And I also mentioned that we do have a board, a trustee member that has from the old board that is trying to be very helpful and encourage us. Now, I didn't see any of John's additions to what we were talking about with the stuff on the emails, but maybe he's just not available to do that. I don't know.
Yeah, I've got several things going on right now.
But I
so
just,
it's very difficult to.
But it would be helpful if you would just, you know, I'm not available to do it or something, communicate with us, that's all. But anyhow, back to what we're task at hand, is to figure out the job description. Do you all have any of the old job description for that the Board of Trustees paragraph?
No.
To carry out the policies. You added, the one I have is shorter, that we discovered at the rodeo building is what I have.
Maybe
We cut it down.
Maybe what we ought to do, and listening to what Bill is recommending, is maybe we'll leave the job description as it is, post that job description, and then the board take on rewriting the job description as a work session.
Can that be, okay, so we,
just link to the.
so we have the link to the existing job description. We hire somebody and then we change the job description. Can we do that? As long as we tell him what's going on.
I don't think we're changing anything. I think there's just a lot more verbiage in what you guys have written up versus what is there, but I don't know that they aren't saying the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just it's more detailed here than it is here. So I don't think that there's that. And it goes along with your comments about the fact that we want someone in that first semester and obviously flexibility, but we've talked about he's gonna be interacting with us all the time. We can amend something different, but I do agree with what John and Bill are both saying. It's another task to add to the list that we want to do if we want to change it.
I just want to say that I'm not I don't want you to feel bad about this because you've done a good job. It's just that this happens with every committee, that the two of you are getting your heads together and saying, okay, how could we word this? And even though we tried to review it by email, I don't think we really did a good job of that.
Yeah.
So I just think we need to make it a separate step.
I make a motion that we commit to no bent noses. I'm sorry, I'm kidding. That was in jest, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That there are no bent noses here, that we can say whatever we want to each other, and that we make notes and we try to do the best we can in recognition of those things.
Well, and do you want to just change this Board of Trustees and use the old Board of Trustees in this new, and then review the rest, the personal finances and business plan, et cetera, to make sure it's okay?
I recommend that we just leave the library director's work found in section 3, administration, subsection 4, duties of the library director as is, until such time as we get together and have a work session to change that. That way you have something that you can post with your posting.
So that's out of the section 3 you said, right, John?
I believe it's the CCLD section 3 administration.
Yeah.
Subsection 4 duties of library director.
So are you making a motion to do that?
I am. Well, I'm throwing it out.
I'm discussing.
If it's time for a motion, we can make the motion.
I don't know. I guess it's just.
I mean, if there's a need for further discussion, we can have it. If not, I do make that as a motion.
I would like to just have the thought of look at the old. What does it say, John, in that paragraph? Can you read that Board of Trustees piece, please?
Let me see if I can find it.
I have a copy. It starts with the duties of the library director, correct?
Right.
It's a library director. It's actually, okay, so what we did, we had duties. Let me run down this real quick. Let me run down this real quick, guys. What we did in the last meeting is we had duties in one place, and then we had duties on top of this in another place. And what we did is we took that and we said, yes, we'll use that as a reference, but the job description, we distilled that out of all that. And this is the job description that we took, and we made notes, and we went over very tediously. And then we developed this new description from the notes we took on this, talking to you folks. So if the job, I'm thinking if the job description needs more work, that we could take the new, so this is the old job description. We already decided what we do and don't like about it, okay? We took our best effort at what we were given as notes. We took our best effort at what we were given as notes, and this was created. So I think that we should leave the job description as it is. Take this and go down line by line in another meeting and decide whether we're gonna use this as is, or again, take notes and make changes as we discuss them. But this came out of this,
Which came out of two documents.
which is an old document.
Correct.
Okay, this,
Well, it's the most current document available.
this
Current
is closer to who we are, okay? And that's my encouragement. And so I'm gonna back off now and listen.
So what you're suggesting is we go with our job posting, which we've approved, and let it reference the existing job description until we have a chance to spend the dedicated time.
That was my intention.
That's what the
Sounds good to
motion
me.
calls for.
So that was the same thing John said?
Same thing John said.
Okay.
And what would be like a working meeting?
Well, before we get to that, I think Vicky said something, Vicky, the symbol, said something very telling, is we need that philosophical discussion about the policies and policy in the library, or whatever it's called, the strategic planning. That will spill out to whether this works completely. So I think the next thing at some point is the strategic plan before we get back to the job description. My thought.
And we've never had one before at this library, it's my understanding. And so it will, just come together with all of our thoughts and put it on paper and discussion and work meeting.
I think each of us should explore a strategic plan and bring it all together.
Everybody should have that document. And
And everybody should,
look at it, compare it for the policies, look at the library policies that are present.
Wait, is that the strategic plan? Are you talking about in relation to this?
I'm talking.
I'm sorry, are we getting off top? Are they?
Well, they can be, is what Bill is saying.
See, this has philosophical implications, and the strategic plan would address those philosophical implications.
Okay. So then,
It's kind of like
when we get down to this, we need to sort out what's strategic plan and what is job description.
First we have to come up with the strategic plan, and then we can review this in light of that.
I want to tell you what, a strategic plan, even though one was put together for us by the previous director, strategic planning was not an easy task.
No, not at all.
strategic plan.
It does identify.
The strategic plan,
But that's not done in one or two meetings.
No, and it should start with a very comprehensive survey. If you're gonna do a strategic plan, there should be a survey.
No.
Your strategic plan is your budget in words.
It's the goals of the library. What is the
library?
What is the library? What is it to the library, to the community? What do we want? Are we open? Are we closed? Are we welcoming? Are we only welcome some? It's the whole gamut. And probably the easiest way to do that, and I might direct that and divide that up to have, everybody work on it special and do one section at a time. But I think we need to know where, and it's off topic again, to stop.
Yes, okay.
So, that's for another thought, and, we could put the strategic plan on the meeting, on the agenda for the 19th, and then I'll have some ideas of how to divide that up perhaps, to present to the board.
I think we do, I appreciate what Bill says, the strategic plan, and I think that I appreciate that. But I do think that in the interim, we need to get a more up-to-date job description in place. There's no reason why we can't do it again after the strategic plan. But I think that we need to get our job description in place, not this old document we've been handed from how many years ago?
It's not that old.
How old is it?
Maybe a couple of years.
Oh, really?
If that old, yeah.
Okay.
I can go back and check to see it, and maybe it's not even a year.
Okay.
All of the policies in that are fairly new.
Okay.
Now, I need a motion, so I know which job description we are going to use for that link.
There's a motion on the floor.
Who made it?
Motion, I made the motion. I made the motion that we use the existing job description as found in CCLD Section 3, Administration, subsection 4, duties of the library director, and use that in our job posting until such time as we have a chance to reevaluate, rewrite, duties of the library director.
So to add it, the motion, the board of trustees from the job description that he's discussing says, carry out policies as formulated by the board, recommend changes in regulations, policies, and library services to the board, report to the board current progress and future needs, stay current on local, state, federal laws regarding libraries and employment, make monthly reports to the board regarding services, finances, and statistics, make reports to governing authorities as required by law, enter under a bond before entering upon duties with a corporate surety approved and paid for by the board, the statute number 182.075.1 RSMO, make a report to the board before the end of March stating the condition of the library and its services as of the 31st day of December 182.075.3 warrant, and assist with the annual audit to be presented at the June meeting. Yeah. I think the problem that I remember discussing was this was just a list. So it was not in a format that was in a paragraph that we discussed, talked about it at the rodeo board meeting.
I guess I didn't understand that because I kind of like the list.
I think it's the same for here.
Yeah. But they are virtually identical. The main difference I see is that preparing board meeting, is preparing board meeting agendas in that whole list?
You have it, I don't have it.
No, you have the old list.
She took it back.
I'm sorry, back. I saw everything in there except preparing agendas for board meetings. Something that is, nope. So that was an addition and I didn't care for it.
Well, that's the histories in relation to, yeah.
And what you guys said in the new
and the responsibility for orientation.
So I'm still waiting on a second for this motion, if that's what we want to use.
You can have a second and further discussion. That's usually not happens.
In the motion, I'd like to see the stipulation that okay, so in let me just back up a minute.
We need a second.
Okay.
To the motion before discussion.
So it's okay.
We need a second
before we can talk about it.
To
Yeah,
discuss.
second, then you go into
And then
discussion.
you go into discussion.
That's why I didn't want to do a
I
full
will
motion
second
to it.
it.
Okay.
Go into discussion.
Now I'll go into discussion. Thank you, John.
So the job posting has the link to where the job description will be. That's not changing. That won't change because the job description right now is going to be.
The problem is currently the job description's in two places. Part of it's in the policy manual and part of it is listed as a job description.
No, there's job duties.
Wait a minute, wait. And what we did is combine both of them into one document. And that's what we were working on.
Right, but you made some additions also.
We made some additions
and that's kind of what's murking things up just a little bit.
I think we could accept the job posting. We could. I think we could motion to I'm just putting this out as a suggestion to have a meeting on what the changes need to be to our latest submission.
And we want to post the job posting, so it's right now it's going to the existing director position description.
Yes,
and that seems to be okay.
But there's nothing in terms.
As long as so the decision. What I'm saying is the decision I think we should make is that it can in the interim go to the existing job description, but that we're gonna
change it.
We're gonna change. Yeah, we are going to change it to get it so exactly as we want it to be. as
Sure, I agree
follows.
with changing it to be exactly the way we want it to be. That just might take a little bit of time. We're not completely on the same page with it.
So in what I'm
But
saying.
in the meantime, it's going to go to the existing job description, and if you have candidates who apply, they're going to see the existing one.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question too. By appointing us as a committee to do this, to combine these two, job descriptions, we wasted our time.
That's
And we wasted our effort, by not responding to us when we sent out an email with the job descriptions, asking for input.
Yeah, we
We
need,
received nothing from board members. Except for Vicky.
I was gonna say, I did.
So.
I guess we need a better way to work on things, because I got distracted by all of the confusion over who was getting which emails. So that kind of distracted me from actually looking in detail at what was done.
Well, Denise, I don't think that, your statement that, it was a waste of time, wasn't a waste of time. I think these are points that, that you all are presenting to us. And I think that those are points that we need to evaluate as we take a look at this. But right now, we don't all agree with what's in your proposal, so that we can move the job posting forward with a job description. We already have a job description. So that's what this motion was for, is to use that job description in the posting, okay, so that we can get the posting done, and that we will then continue to look at, modifying the job description.
Well, the job posting, well, the job description itself is not accurate.
So if we were to do that, could we, and we continue to work with this, and then at some point, we just update applicants with, hey, we update the applicants. Our job description has been updated. Please go to this site and read it. Is that realistic?
I think
I don't think that this job posting should be frozen in place for the hiring of that director.
Well, I'd like to just make a comment.
Because we've got to do something.
When I looked up this LOREC job description here, the WWCLD US, it has both the job duties, library job description, and it also has those 2 pages of the duties of the library director. What I'd like to see, if anything is done with that, is to take off the library duties off of that page, and then just have the job description there, period, and a story. There's both documents, the one for the policy and there. So if we're gonna do just the job description, then we just need to do the job description. The job duties is what I think you all tried to incorporate in this new job description, which we can still work on. But if we're just gonna do the job description, the way that this opens up, it opens up to the library job description, and then it opens up to the library. The first thing you see is the duties of the library director. I don't think it needs to be both. That's too confusing.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't have a problem with that. So,
Yes.
So we just need to.
what is the reference point in the CCLD manual?
It doesn't even say that on here.
Vicki, what is it?
I would have to follow the link, but I believe that is off of, I don't know why it's got both of them on there. I think whenever we set up this link,
You added both documents
yes,
to the
both of
link.
those documents were added to that.
So we want to just get
So
rid of
we'll
the
just,
duties one.
right, we will clean up that link.
Okay.
Or if it's not, we will just provide
Okay, then.
the link for this.
That link can open, and you
Yes.
can get on those, whoever made
Yes.
it, and delete those 2 documents.
Absolutely. I will get this and send, who's going to, I guess I don't have a question, who's going to post this job description? I mean, the job posting. Me?
I say you, yeah.
Okay. Right.
You gotta find out, you know, where you wanna get it posted. You know, there's a lot of different places to
Well,
post.
now, okay, so let's just finish up as we go. We'll talk
Okay.
about where the posting comes.
So
That's another discussion.
So we still have a second on the floor.
Yeah, no,
Still
now,
open for
now what we
discussion.
need to do then is I need to amend my motion, okay? Because I give you, section and subsection. So I'm going to amend my motion to just say that we will use the current job description as found in the CCLD, policy manual.
And not the job duties piece.
Right, I didn't say job duties, I just said job
The job
description,
description.
which is what you recommended, Vicki.
That,
Yes.
and it's under library job description. But what's interesting in the policy manual is that the job duties is on this part, and then the job description is in this back part of the
That's a
section.
whole different issue.
No, I understand.
So your recommendation was to post the current job description as opposed to the job duties.
Correct.
That's what my amended motion did, okay?
No,
Is to
We are.
include your recommendation. So now, Bill, we need you to approve that as a second if you approve. And I'll amend your motion.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Because then we can go to work on the job description and have it replaced.
Yes.
And your work has been much appreciated with all of this, and I agree, long-term wise, that it should fit together. I don't think we need job duties and a job description.
Okay, I would, since we're finished now with, what we were asked to do, I make a motion that the committee be dissolved as of now.
Well, we need to discuss the ideas of where you guys decided to publish and to put these out at before we do, that's to finish this whole thing. You came up with ideas.
I don't think you have to dissolve the committee.
Oh, I think so. We're done now.
Well,
We've done.
there was no vote to create a committee that I'm aware of.
Yes, there was. There was a.
Yeah, we were actually, me and Denise were actually appointed as the committee to.
Oh, really?
At the August 18th meeting, when the director decided to do his in the closed session, we did discuss about the.
All right, well, it's on the floor. Let's go ahead and get it off. Let's get it on, go ahead. You
So
make your motion.
since we've approved the job description, or not the job description, but the posting, and we can move on with it. Adam and I have done what has been asked of us, and I make a motion that we dissolve our committee and, moving forward, working on the job description to refine it will be done by the entire board, not just the committee. So there's my motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
No, discussion.
Discussion. I don't think that we're negating any of the work that you've done at all. I think for time's sake, there's too much issues with this piece of the Board of Trustees that's in here.
So
I don't think there's.
my thing is not that, we've done what's been asked. And now the board has decided we're going to refine the job description at some point. So our duty is done. We've made like a starting point for the entire board to participate.
Yes.
And when we were working on this as a committee, we did not get the entire participation of the board, and that's something that needs to be worked on. So this is not a committee thing, this is a board thing. So dissolving our committee now, because we've already approved the job description or the job posting. I think that's the next move.
So I would be inclined to for us to have another special session using this document provided by the committee, go down through it line by line, and amend it to what we all, just like we did with this posting. That's how this posting got here. Let's use the same process with this description and finish this. There's a lot of good like I believe Denise had said, or one of us said that the idea was to get this duties thing and job description thing, get it into a job description. And I think that's been done very well. I think we need to take this, do the same thing we did with the posting, go down through it, agree on what the changes are going to be, make the changes, and get it, finish it.
It's just a nice start. So that's it.
So Adam second the motion. Any more just doing your job? Sorry.
It's okay, everybody's jumping in, it's okay. I agree with Adam. I think that they have done a good job of looking at all of it, and so I think we need to decide how to go about this, who should be in charge of it, and get comments back, and how to do it. I agree, there should just be one document, there shouldn't be two. So, I would suggest, John, do you have a thought about leading the charge on this topic?
I do not right now have the time to do that. But, you know, the question is, do we still need a subgroup to do that?
I don't think we need.
You know, we're a group of 5, okay, at this point. There's already been enough brought up on both sides where we can sit down, because we're going to need to sit down and formulate this as a group anyway. So, you know, I think it can be done by the board as opposed to a subcommittee.
I agree.
I agree.
Okay, everybody in favor? Aye. So moving on then, can you guys let us know your information on where we are gonna post our posting that you guys found out, information you guys had?
Well, I was doing some research online. Simply Hired is a free site, but it's not a great fit for professional level positions, and that was the consensus of this site. It posts to meet multiple job boards, but again, this is more like for entry-level positions and skilled service positions. LinkedIn gives you a free posting for 30 days with one job description. LinkedIn is a great site for professional networking, and it's something that should be considered. Indeed, from what I've seen, is great for healthcare or entry-level positions, but not so much for professional positions. Although if you're going to post with the Missouri Library Association, that's one of the places that they will post. ZipRecruiter uses an AI matching system. They offer a free 4-day trial. Afterward, they charge $16 a day per job. They have a monthly fee where you forego a free trial, and it's $299 per month per job, and that's their standard plan. Posting it becomes available on more than 100 job sites, and it's great for manual labor and entry-level jobs. Professional jobs don't get as many job seekers on that particular platform. And then, of course, you know, we post to the state job boards, social media such as Facebook, Twitter, our own homepage, website. Google for Jobs is another one. And that's what I discovered. And then Adam.
I looked at a site called Red Balloon, and they vet us to go through job applicants, or to only bring applicants that are how do I say that? Bring applicants that are suitable. So there's, and the prices are comparable on Red Balloon to what you were talking about comparable. Yeah, the monthlies and the monthly fees, and around 300, and then it's less if you do it buy it for the whole year. It's less. And then is there? Would we consider at some point a headhunter, somebody that would actually go out? We're talking about $4,000, about $4,000, and you were right. That's what they. Yeah. That's something to consider in the future. If and I'm sorry, I'm standing up. My back lets me know when it's done sitting. I'm sorry. So that's something. I just want to plant that seed. In other words, if this becomes protracted, it's something to certainly look at. But I did like the Red Balloon job site, and so would encourage you folks to take a look at that. But I don't know, are we ready to pick one or pick some, or can we get going with like the what you call the?
We do have an account with Indeed. We can start there. We can do the MLA job list, our social media website, and LinkedIn.
Vicki, where did they go? You've been around a while to work through a few directors, you've told me. Where did they post before?
We posted on the
MLA site.
Yes, and then it was Monster, remember that? Old site, and then we actually advertised in the back of one of the professional journals. I think it was Library Journal.
And what are we willing to spend as a board?
I think the Library Journal is an excellent idea, but do you have any idea on prices?
I do not. It's been too long. I can call and get prices, and we can, but I think that we should start on the ones that we have available to us now.
MLA, Indeed, LinkedIn, at least the Library District website.
Yes.
You said Indeed was really not for professional, in your opinion?
Well, no, not in my opinion.
I just don't know. I mean, I don't know anything about it.
For the website, like when I was applying for jobs, I was in healthcare, and I went on Indeed, and there were tons of healthcare jobs on there. And I went to a site that was rating all of these different sites,
right.
And it said that for Indeed, they do charge you, and it was for basically healthcare and entry-level jobs. It's the most hits that they get.
Right.
As far as professional jobs, they don't get that money.
Yeah. If there's a cost for Indeed, I don't see us using that unless we can check with the state library. Well, okay. We can check with the state library and get their opinion on that.
Well, they're the
but based on what I'm hearing here,
Yeah.
Again, if there's a cost to do it, I say no, but if there isn't, then go ahead and post it. So
Glassdoor, you had suggested that.
I used Glassdoor, and there was certainly a lot of postings on Glassdoor. I don't know what Glassdoor costs.
No, I don't know either. I kind of just got on and experimented a little bit.
So yeah, it's there was a lot on Glassdoor, and it's kind of like if you're a business, do you get more business by going where all the merchants are? That type of thing. And so maybe Glassdoor is a concept, just because it seems to be what do you call it? It seems to be in the eyesight of on the radar of libraries if they're going there to put a lot of directors on there.
So the business journals that the library gets, anything of those that we get that everybody looks at that's passed around, and is
Library Journal,
Is that the library journal? Is that the only one?
Well, that's, school library journal, but I think library journal is the one that we want to advertise for our director in.
Guess another way of looking at this is we're currently not paying a full directory salary. So we have quite a bit of money to work with as far as advertising.
But I think we ought to be, I think, you know, as Adam says, I think we ought to try to, you know, center in on those websites that are going to be particular to the job that we're trying to post, okay? And I don't know what those are, okay? And again, if we've already talked to the state library and they've made recommendations, that's fine. As far as headhunters are concerned, I don't think we're at the point of needing a headhunter until we see what comes to us, and then at that point, we may have to go the route of a headhunter, okay? But I think those costs are probably a little high for where we need to be right now.
Do we need to put it in the paper? Pay a paper?
A newspaper.
Newspaper?
I don't think it's gonna do you any good around here if you're gonna post, I mean.
We should get something locally highly visible, because there could be some talent right in front of us.
Well,
We don't know.
We could, you know,
Paper's probably not the best way to do it. Social media, you know, may be a better way to go, but I don't know what that is. Late today, you know, I don't deal with them, but I know a lot of people do. Do they do job postings?
Like Expo, I can check.
Expo?
How about radio stations? Some of them, they'll advertise in between like songs and stuff for during the news time.
And their PSA.
Sometimes they have interviews. Maybe
We have a relationship with KRMS.
maybe use Coley to do an
Yes,
interview.
absolutely.
You know, she's the PR person.
Right.
To get it out there to the lake that we're looking for someone.
there's Key Radio.
Mhm.
Bill is with Key Radio. Kevin Burns is with another radio station that we know is really interested in what goes on in the lake. To just put it out there for information, you know.
And we'll post them, of course, to all the bulletin boards and all the libraries. So,
It'll be posted on the website. All the references could be referred back to our website.
Now, there is nothing about references on there too. We're just not gonna ask for references until later.
most of the time they're probably included on their resume.
Yeah.
Right.
So do we have a motion then that we're gonna go ahead with the MLA and the Indeed and LinkedIn, at least to start with our like, district?
Social media, the website.
Yeah, we make a motion to post in those locations.
And Vicki, could you maybe check and see what some of the rates are for some of these
Absolutely.
others so that we can, you know, have a feel for that and, you know, get that out to us in an email, and then we can respond back as a group if there's something that we feel like, you know, we want to do in addition to that. I don't mind posting if it's $300 a month. $300 a month is not that much money, okay? But this is not gonna be a 30-day process.
Especially if it's a professional magazine, like, last we were talking about this oriented to versus professionals. I agree.
So is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We got past it. Okay, so, I wanted to ask you all then, while we have this job description in hand that the committee has done, is it unrealistic to have everyone look at this, jot their stuff down, and bring a copy of what they have to the meeting on October 13th?
Please.
Huh?
Please.
And then to, and bring enough copies for everybody so that you can, John, you're gonna give one to all of us. You're gonna do yours to all of us unless you're not gonna change it. Adam the same, Bill the same, and I'll do the same, so that we can take it and then, and at that point in time, take it home, look at what everybody else has got, look at your own, and then make a final draft to present at another closed session.
You
Is that,
want each one of us to put
Well,
together our own recommendation?
well, I think you should, what I think you should do is take the one that they put together, and what you don't like about it, put it in this color. If you have the ability to change the color of what you don't want, that you don't like, to make it a different color so that we know what you don't like, what I don't like, what I want to add in a different color. At least so it's not a black and white.
I'll do my best. I can't guarantee I'll be able to do that, but I'll do my best.
Well, at least read through and if nothing, mark out lines that you don't want. And then if you'll copy that to everybody so that everybody can look at it. And then we'll decide at that point in time to take all of that and come together and it's called being flexible thinking on this to make sure that we have a good one that we're all happy with. And I think the one page job description, job duties should be sufficient rather than have to have two different documents, in my opinion. So.
I mean, if everybody could at least take this home and come back with marching notes.
I've done that every time, so yeah.
Yeah, if everybody can take this home, get marching notes and bring it back.
The other,
so that we're ready to talk and do a line by line, make the changes and get it over, kill us.
Yeah.
So, and the other thoughts I would have is about the strategic plan. You guys have the copy that Vicki sent out last time that was on the agenda that we took off the agenda. So everybody needs to come up with their idea of what a strategic plan is. Think about, we have a substantial library, 5 different districts. What is our philosophy of the library? What is the philosophy of the library in general, from the old days to the new days? Are we food for thought? This is just food for thought. Are we looking to how we're going to serve the community? Are we going to continue to offer services to the community? Where we're at, what our present is, what we were from, where we're here, and then where we're headed to get an idea of what we'd like to see goal-wise for the library district, just to bring in more people. The biggest thing I hear that I've talked to people is that the COVID thing has kept people from not coming. We want people to come back to the library.
Seriously?
Yeah.
You know,
it's just
people develop a new habit, and maybe their habit before was coming to the library. And I was at one of those farmers markets, and I was talking to a few people there, and there were homeschoolers who used to use the library. They would book rooms and. I
understand they still depend heavily on the library.
No. This particular group, they used to come to the library, and then when the library closed down during COVID, they had no place to go, so they found a new location.
Yeah.
Now, how do you get those people back?
I know that.
Now they've developed a new habit. They've developed a new habit of going elsewhere for their needs. So we have to figure out how we're going to entice these people back into the library.
I agree with you. In their case, you're not, because they actually have their own school. So the library can never be their school.
No, but they used to have their meetings.
I know, but now that they have their own school, they don't need to have the meetings at the library. So that's one of those cases where, yes, COVID caused it, but COVID caused something that can't be reversed.
Right.
Plus, the reality is, I mean, we offer so many more things online these days to make it convenient for our patrons. So they can get books online, audio books, blah, 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 and on and on and on. So, we've actually cut out the need for them to physically come into our libraries, okay? And we did that for their convenience. So, you cut those people out. I mean, you haven't intentionally cut them out. You just made it easier for them to do what they want to do and not physically have to get up and come in and do it. So, you kind of reduced your numbers that way, but we made it better for our patrons. So we may never get back to the numbers that we originally had, but I'm not sure that's a bad thing.
Well, I think that's part of the goal of figuring out where our library is gonna be in 5 years in order to make our strategic plan.
I'll be real honest with you, Vicki, trying to put together, I mean, even looking at the strategic plan, I think that's something that you need to be doing with a new library director in addition to the board, okay? So I think we're really, I mean, we can start looking at it, okay? But, you know, you need to really have a library director, you know, here.
I agree.
To be part of that.
But I also want to be prepared when they start asking us in their Zoom interviews of what's your strategic plan for your library system in your community? Where are you headed with your strategic? So we have at least a thought about some good answers that we'll have, because you know as well as I do that as an applicant, I'm going to interview all of you as well as you interview me.
And you know, when we do have someone in here, if we all think about what the library is going to be in 5 years, 10 years, we'll have more relevant interview questions for the applicant.
Well, sure, probably what we ought to be doing, and you're right. And I'm going to recommend that we have those questions in advance of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we're ready.
We should start thinking about what we want to discuss.
Well, there's definitely some information about hiring in the MLA, as well as probably the policy book. I did look in our policy book. I just looked in the State Library Association book about hiring a director, questions you have, concerns you have, as well as the talents of all the trustees and how involved that we get. So that's the other thing. We all should be talking. I don't know if we need to, John, you've been here a long time, so you probably know about talking about the library and the community and sharing what we're doing and that kind of thing. But I think everybody should be an ambassador for the library and look at our own our own thoughts and visit with the groups that we have to bring attention to that. And then I wanted to ask also a consideration, just all food for thought, is to have, we are going to rotate the meetings, but not till after the first of the year. But how often are we visiting the library itself to get to know the people within the library system that's already presently here? And then I want to ask you guys, have there ever been any meetings with the library staff before they start their work, just to see how things are going, to touch base with them, to assist them in getting to know all of us better, and us being available to all of them to ask questions and concerns, and they can call me anytime if they need to, but to be open to their suggestions and calls, and then to do that in every library as well.
I'm not sure I understand that.
Well, it's kind of like.
I'm sorry, I gotta interrupt. We're having like general discussion, and we did have our meeting. The meeting
right.
is supposed to be about this.
Right.
So do we like end the meeting and just hang out and talk?
No, you're better off doing it this way. This is not a closed session.
All right.
This is not a closed session.
Okay, so we're good to go then?
I think
want to
we're
make
just having
sure
some general discussion at this point.
Okay.
So.
Well, and we're here discussing it in front of our community so that we're not being untransparent. I mean, I don't know what the board did before, but and I think that's the part of expressing everybody on the board's feelings and thoughts to the community so they know, and be a welcoming board to everybody. And we are doing it different because we are on camera rather than before. I don't remember ever seeing a library board that was on camera before. Whatever, it doesn't matter, but this board is presenting a unified, I hope, transparent expression of, you know, our thoughts and feelings about what we want, because I hope that we all want what's best for our community. And that's kind of where I'm coming from for this discussion. It is difficult to get work sessions. We don't want to do anything against the sunshine law. So just being able to share our thoughts and my ideas of where, I mean, I can send you all an email, but it's so much nicer to talk to all of you in person. I can see your faces. So that way you can wink or you can growl or however, but I'm just teasing. But anyway, that's just my purpose, is to be open in front of everybody.
So I don't see how we plan long range without the strategic plan wise and whatnot, without collecting what statistics we have, doing doing surveys, establishing scope. I don't know that, you know, I don't know how we create a strategic plan without those things.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking maybe we're a little off base with that, because what I think I saw as a strategic plan was like a mission statement, and then a set of values, something like that. It was a very graphical kind of thing. It was not as what I think of as a strategic plan, but more of a, I don't know, kind of a philosophical. It was a mission statement. So I think that's what we need to start with.
And Adam, we do have some statistics. We do a state statistical report every year.
Yeah.
So we do have that usually comes to the board members. For 2022, it's just opening October the 2nd, first, and it ends on November the 30th. So then we will have the state statistical report for our library for 2022. So that is something that you can.
Yeah, I've seen already what you've provided us, and know that we have a bunch of stuff to work off of, and then I don't know if we need a new survey, or we've got some old surveys to look at what people have said and what employees have said. Hey, this is great, this isn't, you know, and then put that all together and start, and then start establishing that. And that was, I like that mission, separating out mission statement from strategic plan, because it is again
I don't think we have the mission statement yet.
So
yeah. And there have been no comment sessions that I'm aware of in the past. So if that's something that you're suggesting that we go, you know, to the community with, and whoever you suggest we go to, that's going to have to be something that's planned and
actually have a survey.
Yeah.
And a strategic plan doesn't take like on the meeting. That might take us a year to get to our.
Absolutely. That's what I said earlier. Strategic plan is.
I think Bill nailed it. Separating the mission statement from strategic plan, because strategic plan can have some dollar figures in it, and some metrics to it, whereas a mission statement is more philosophical.
Well, I think too, when you're asking questions, if you're doing survey questions, you need to be ask the right questions to you know, do you use the library? And there's a certain there's another I keep referring back to the MLA state book, but it is our resource that we have from Missouri, the state library, and there is a thing in there about how you ask questions to the community to get the answers that we want. You know, ask them, you know, do they want the library? What do they like the library? What officers, what things do they use? Kind of as a part of to help guide your thought processes. There's a lot in the MLA. Yes, it's a resource, and nothing's written in stone, but it offers more food for thought.
Well, you know, there's another thing we need to consider too, as library resources become more of an online type of thing. What do you see for the physical plant down the road in 5 years, 10 years? How will that be used? You know, if everybody's on their computer and they're not coming in to a library, do we expand into something else? You know, to get people in to the library to use it more as a community center. That's something to consider as well.
Well, a lot of that, I mean, we're doing a lot of that right now. I mean, this library has developed into a lot of different things. We're not only just offering books. I mean, we're offering, if they want to play golf, they can come get golf clubs here. We purchase those. I mean, a lot of specialty things like that. We've got the maker space. Okay, you can't do that from a computer. Okay, you've got to come in. The programs that you offer, okay, for the kids and for the junior students and so on and so forth. So it depends on how you're curriculum for, your library is set up, which, we can take a look at that. But we're doing all of those things to maintain some of that and to bring in some of those once you get them in here and they see what's here. But we're also, making it available for some of those who no longer have the maybe physical abilities to come in. We've even got programs where we go out and meet with some of our shut-ins, and we talked about that. So I mean, there's a lot of that that's going on.
Oh yeah, but it's something that we have to think about expanding.
Sure, absolutely. We need to be looking at that. That's what your library. That's why you bring a library director in. That can bring some of those past experiences, not only from what we've got in our library, but what they've done, in other work locations.
It's like that other building in Osage Beach too, after seeing it. It is rather small, but I can see like a makerspace building.
Yeah.
It could be used as that. You have these individual rooms, and like the makerspace that's set up here, it seems very crowded. And each room could be devoted to a different thing. The one that makes glass, and the one that builds little items, and so that could be different. You have the rooms that are acoustically treated, which can be used for kids to come in and start a band, or do podcasts. You can set up your green screen in there, and do other things. I mean, the building could be used for a lot of many different things, and then if we could figure out how to incorporate that back space, that could be used for like cooking spaces.
It could be an educational place for.
It could be used for anything, for homeschoolers to come in there and use that big space. So, it's something to consider.
Those things can be used for a lot of different things.
Yeah.
One of the things I think that we talked about before, and I don't want to keep harping on these, is you've got to take a look at the long-term use of these. What is it going to require, as far as physical, changes to the facilities? Mm-hmm. What type of library employees are you going to have? The budgeting for all of that. So, I guess, what Bill had suggested at one of the meetings, the last one, the previous one, is, you've got to put together a business plan for, utilizing something like that. So we've got a lot of things that we can do as a group. We can't jump on everything at one time. We're going to have to figure out which one we want to jump on first, make a list of those, and then add to those as we can.
Does the library ever do educational podcasts on a variety of different topics? Religion, politics, cooking, any of those kinds of things?
We have not done podcasts.
We have posted some videos on, but that was we did a lot of that during COVID, but people couldn't come in. We would do story times and post them on YouTube, so that.
And educational offerings to help educate, to help people learn about our country and community.
Our programs are educational, but they're not podcasts, but we do have educational programs.
But to have actual speakers come in to actually talk about a different subject and offer to the community.
Local TED Talk type things.
A local TED type talk, town hall kind of meeting.
No, we do not do those. We do not do TED Talks or local town hall meetings.
Obviously, Key Gathering Place and Key Radio have done that for the last 3 years, so.
Well, I'm just saying, we have room.
Our meeting rooms are available if anybody would be interested to come in and do it, an outside group, but we don't do that.
In my experience, it's really hard to get people to come. And, you look at the YMCA, which is a big organization, and they schedule lots and lots of classes, and they cancel most of them because they can't get interest. It's just a different environment we're in.
You can't determine, it's hard to predict what the public wants to do and what they do not want to do.
Right.
And sometimes they think they want to do this when they really want to do that.
Sometimes they think they want to do it, and then when it's finally over, they say, well,
I'm not so sure about that. Right.
So
well, I think it's all too about
I think online is where we're going as a world.
try not to be so divisive and just to bring everybody back together. I guess I'm all about, humans appreciating humans and talking about learning how to communicate with each other. And Bill, I'm sorry, but I just disagree with you on some things, but it's okay, I still like you, right? Be able to communicate those things where I think we've just really lost a whole bunch in our country. So I just didn't know if there was a way to interject some of this in our community. You start out small and then you grow bigger. I mean, it has to be biggest part of the philosophy that we provide to the community. Different schools have thought about this and that. I mean, I thought about that with the room at the radio station building is anybody and everybody who brings their own equipment into that sonic room can come in and they can talk about whatever they want because it's a community service that the library is providing to anybody and everybody. We're not judging, we're just giving you the opportunity to be able to talk however you want to.
I'm not sure we want to do that. I mean, that's what we need to decide, how we want those facilities used. I mean, the next time you make a statement like that, and the first thing you have is somebody coming in and wanting to talk about pornography. Okay, then the next guy comes in and wants to talk. No, Vicky, I'm just making a point.
Okay.
And then we're done. I'm done.
You gotta have some policies in place.
Yeah, I mean, then you got your community, speaking against you. And, oh my God, that's a library facility. Should that be really coming from library?
Good points, good points, John, good points.
We done.
I think we can call it.
Okay.
So, all in favor of adjourning this meeting?
All right.
Call the meeting adjourned.
Okay.